Hello, welcome to 4-6. Today we're going to talk about mixed numbers and improper fractions. And our goal is that you would be able to convert between mixed numbers and improper fractions, and then also be able to go from improper fractions into mixed numbers. So let's get started. Alright, so to start off, we are going to start off with a little word problem here. It says the longest total solar eclipse in the next 200 years will take place in 2186. It will last about 15 halves, or 15 over 2 minutes. Write 15 over 2 as a mixed number. Alright, so how we're going to do that is, again, we're going to divide the top by the bottom. Our numerator, I've seen that some of you have this written in your notebooks because we've talked about it before, needs to be divided by our denominator. It is an A. Okay, so let's divide 15 by 2. Now this is a little different than what we have been seeing because we've been having to add our decimal and we've been talking a lot about dividing decimals this way. So this one we will have a whole number and a fraction with it as well. So 2 goes into 15 7 times, and that would be 2 times 7 is 14. We have 1 left over. Now this is where it changes. When we're talking decimals, I would add my decimal, add a 0, bring it down, and keep going. But we are not talking decimals today, we're talking fractions. So I need to remember that this is my numerator. So that's going to be the 1 on top. And this is going to be my denominator. So my answer will be 7 1/2 when I divide the top by the bottom or the numerator by the denominator. 7 1/2 would be how I would change this. Another way I like to think about it, which is basically just dividing it out, is I say how many 2's go into 15? Well, I know 7 2's go into 15. How many are left over? 1 out of 2. There's my denominator again. So I would like you to do it dividing it out so you can have a reason why we divide it out and how you got your answer and have work to show. So again, just dividing the top by the bottom or the numerator by the denominator. It's very handy to have this in your notes in case you forget. That's a common mistake that I see, that kids will put the number in the wrong spot. So let's try another one. Write 2 1/5 as an improper fraction. All right, so I like to call this method circle up. Okay, we're going to circle up. That's an arrow up there. It's kind of hard to see. So 2 1/5. I'm going to circle up. First I'm going to multiply, then I'm going to add. Okay, so I have to do 2 times 5 plus 1, and our denominator is going to stay the same as it already was. It's going to be a 5. Okay, so if I use the order of operations, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. If I use the order of operations, I would know I multiply first. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11/5 is how I would convert this into an improper fraction. The more you get used to this, we won't have to do this step right here, write it all out, because I just know 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 more is 11, and I keep my denominator the same. But it's good to write out this step first couple of times while we're practicing how to do so. Okay, so 11/5 is how I write this as an improper fraction. We will go over a couple more, one more problem at least to reinforce this. So that's really it. That's all we're doing today, guys. So I have a couple more practice problems to make sure we really get it. And if you don't, you can just make sure you watch this and take it all in. So again, extra practice. Write 1 2/7 as an improper fraction. So that's the last one we did. And an improper fraction is just where the numerator is greater than the denominator. So a proper fraction would be like 1/2. This number is smaller. An improper fraction would be if I found the reciprocal or I flipped it over and wrote 2/1. Now, this number is bigger, so we call it improper because it's not the way we like to see it. It's still a number, but it's just not the way we like to see it. And then this right here is our mixed number, a whole number with a fraction. All right, so if I circle up, first I multiply, then I add. 1 times 7 is 7, plus 2 more would be 9. I can write that out too, though. 7 times 1 plus 2, and I keep my denominator the same. 7 times 1 is 7 plus 2 more equals 9/7. So that would be my answer, 9/7. All right. Again, we call it circle up because we start at the bottom and we circle our way up to the top, up to number 2. All right, so let's do one more practicing how to change from an improper fraction into a mixed number. Okay, so again, if I divide the top by the bottom, or the numerator divided by the denominator, I'd ask myself how many 3's go into 20. I know 3 times 7 is 21, so it must be a 6. That's a little too big. 3 times 6 is 18. I have 2 left over. And again, your habit's going to be at a decimal, at a 0, but we're not talking decimals here, we're talking fractions. My fraction would be 6 and, right, so my fraction would be 6 and, oop, where did that come from? 6 and 2/3. Again, this is where my 2 came from, that's my numerator. We'll just do NUM, numerator. And this is where my denominator came from. Denominator. I just want to show you one more because I feel like that might be a little confusing. So we'll just go through one more. How to write your remainder as a fraction. Let me go to a new page here. So if I have the number 25 divided by 3, okay, 3 goes into 25 8 times, minus 24. So I have 1 left over. Here's my numerator. Here's my denominator. Okay, so that's just how we write our answer. This again is just a random number, but I just wanted to show you again how do we write our remainders as fractions. Here's our numerator. Here's our denominator. And we do that when we cannot bring anything else down. Right? We've already used up the 5. There's nothing else to bring down, then we write our remainder as a fraction. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.